What's going on, everybody? It's Rev, and welcome back to another Dauntless video. In this video, we're going to be taking on the additional heroic behemoths that we need for daring heroics, whatever the quest is called. Thrilling? No, it's not thrilling heroics. I need a hero, perhaps. I'm trying to remember the name, but I'm specifically on this screen for a particular reason, and that is to show that we are fighting Frostback Pangoro and the additional modifier called Icy Grass, which causes icy spikes to erupt from the ground periodically. So there's two things to know. I can go ahead and ready up, but just know that Icy Grasp sucks. Like there's no other way to describe it. Icy Grasp sucks because the amount of extra stamina that you need to dodge those extra ice spikes is really annoying. And it's particularly annoying for slower weapons like the hammer and the axe. So I talk a lot of trash about Frostback Pangoro because it was significantly harder, but in this case, this modifier makes it a compelling argument that this fight is actually difficult. And what I want to point out before we even engage is there are 2 points when ice spikes happen. I believe it's either every 30, I want to say it's every 30 seconds. And then it's also a 100% chance to happen at every point that Pangoro enrages. This can cause like an overlap of a ton of spikes, and we might actually see it in real time. But just know that it's roughly every 30 seconds, and that the enrage always triggers Icy Grass. So here's Pangoro. Let's just try and force the interrupt as we always do at the beginning. Rolled to the right there. Got really lucky that I didn't get hit that. Okay, interrupt attack. Couldn't trade with it. I was in a very poor position. Stomps, no problem. I see. I'm mindful of Icy Grass. So what we're looking at is for those little frost eruptions. And then we just move out of the way. Man, that hitbox, man. Let's see what Pangoro chooses to do. You know, sometimes the best action to take is to do nothing. And, you know, don't feel pressured to deal damage. Especially if it's... Let's see, Icy Grass is probably soon. Yep, there it is. See how they get all bundled up? Now it's gonna go for random players, and so they're not all gonna be going for you, and unless you're playing solo. I'm gonna go for this KO here. Greeted really hard, punish for it. Nice. That was a little sketchy, but let's get some more damage in on this leg. I can pretty much ignore the Icy Grass because Pangoro's moving around so much. I'm gonna go for the face break. Once it gets up, it's probably going to enrage, and once it enrages, I'm gonna be mindful of the Icy Grasp again. I'll be able to get some more damage in on this leg. Nope. Going to Aether Form first, then going to enrage. I'm almost positive. Yep, there's the Icy Grasp. There's the additional Icy Grass from the 30 seconds. Oh. Maybe it causes more spikes when it's in Aether Form. I doubt it, but it seemed like those happened significantly sooner. Interruptible attack. I am ready this time, and I still missed. Going for the leg. Just avoid. I'm exiting the situation because Icy Grass happened as I noticed it was doing the Frost Breath, which is another killer. All right, it's de-enraging. Just rolling off to the side there. No, like the forward momentum of my combos are making it so I'm not, the hitboxes on the ice are really small, But if you get hit by them, you can get hit by multiple. So if they all spawn under you, it can just be like damage, 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 because it doesn't give you the iframe. It actually freezes you if you get hit by them. So that's why it's a big killer. You don't want them to be piled on each other. And I'm just gonna roll through that. I'm gonna overdrive back into the fight. I'm gonna roll and hope I don't get hit by Frost Breath. That's like a really dangerous combo, is Icy Grasp with... I'm gonna pop a stamina tonic, and you can see how much like more I'm chasing Pangoro around because I'm trying to play safe. And playing safe is all right, the enrage. I'm just kind of exiting the situation. Pangoro's coming back to me, which is nice. 360 tailspin. Mindful of that. When you're... That move is only usable when Pangoro is enraged. Now, the only thing that can really ruin this damage window for me is Icy Grasp. So I'm just kind of tilting my camera down a little bit. Oh. I had to trade there. I am opting to take whatever damage Pangoro throws at me. I wanted... You can mash dodge to get out of that quicker. Getting out of frozen. Or you can bring Pangoro boots. That's another way to avoid getting frozen. And that's honestly a good tip for avoiding Icy Grasp's damage in general, because you can't get frozen. But notice how much longer the heroic version of Frostback Pangoro takes with that modifier, at least to do it safely, right? And another thing to know is that in Heroic Plus, it's going to be an even stronger Pangoro with that same set of modifiers. So definitely, let's see, did we get anything cool? 2 Frost Soul Shards, nice. Elements of Heroism is what the quest is called. Now I remember. All right, we got Frostback Pangoro down, great. Let's move on. We're just gonna go right into Razorwing Carabac, and we'll go over the modifiers here. So I'll go ahead and cut to the board, because I want to start going over the modifiers a little bit more, because at this point of the game, modifiers become more prevalent, and they're more deadly, sometimes more deadly than the behemoths. In Pangoro's case, you know, Icy Grasp is one of them. So let's talk about Razorwing Carabac's modifiers. All right, here we are on the airship. We are 460, which is also very cool. I'm excited to get this character into like the plus 15 territory. But a very nice thing about Razorwing Carabac is it really doesn't have any modifiers that are worth listing. Jagged is very it has a lot of counterplay that you can just passively bring. Iceborne, any form of healing, like just healing for 1 HP causes wound to go away, or you can stand still. And the good thing about wound is that you can just use the Aether Vent or something. You can use a potion, or, you know, it's a silent killer. It really only gets you when you don't know that you're wounded. And there are perks that can counterplay around it. And so Razorwing Carabac, not too much to mention, but I just wanted to show you that, you know, it's worth going to the airship if you've never fought these before, and that modifiers are going to be a thing that you can look up and read and see, especially in escalation, in trials. Trials is where behemoths are going to have modifiers that they don't normally have. It's kind of just mix and matching all the different modifiers from different behemoths and seeing how they interact, and learning how to fight that particular behemoth or that combination. So we're back at the Sovereign's Throne. I like going up the rock jumpy paths and making a lap this way. As a fun fact, I like showing this little section of the map off because it's a lot of consumable items, and not a lot of people go this way. So there's a cluster of Slayer's Boon back here, and there's actually a jump pad at the peak of this. And this little island has a ton of mats on it, that you can take. When I was first starting Dauntless and this map came out, I located this area, and every single time I was farming on this map, because a lot of the behemoths were moved to this map because it was new and fancy and nice. So you can go right there, and then you can jump down, and there's actually more Phoenix Opal down here. It's a nice little cluster of mats that you don't normally get. Phoenix Opal's pretty scarce. Slayer's Boon is obviously very good for life drain tonics and the wounding tonics, and I believe the stagger tonics as well. I got stuck. Unlucky. All right, we guessed correctly. You can go right or left there, but I like checking the swimming pool. This is like one of my favorite places to fight in the game. I think this is like a really cool area. I really want an island that is just all shallow water like this, with like maybe like cool coral structures. You know, I want like basically a beach island. I think that would be really freaking cool. All right, we're getting buggos. Now keep in mind, this is a stronger version of Karabac. Still very soft in comparison to other behemoths, but it still has more HP, so we're probably not going to be able to capitalize as much on the openings that the Karabac presents to us. Unlucky. I got the bugs on me like right when they were fading. That was a damaged window. That was a missed opportunity. Gonna just kind of wait to see what Karabac does. Roll backwards. I like to roll backwards on that attack. You can roll through it if you'd like. I would say that it gives you significantly better positioning if you roll backwards on the little cross cut, I suppose I'll call it. Nice. We should be able to get the nice. Now it is an Aether form. It's going to be able to do its interruptible attack now, and that's if I don't get this tail cut, if that's what you can call it, a tail. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna actually leave the arms available, and I'm gonna try and get damage in on the legs. I broke an arm on accident, or I broke one of the wings. It's still an Aether form though, so it can still do the interruptible attack. I forgot about that. I'm so used to it being able to, so now I'm just waiting for the interrupt attack. I'm spacing myself away. This should give me enough distance after it does this attack. So that move does make you bleed, and so I'm mindful of my stamina now. Gonna try and get it to do it again. It can do it twice, and then after that it's kind of like on a cooldown. All right, it's being a dingus, so let's go back to going for the legs, because I really want those boots. I want the boots. I'm gonna turn you into Uggs, Karabac. Give me your Uggs. All right, let's see what else is there to say. It's almost, I can almost knock it out of Aether. Oh, I was still bleeding. Unlucky. All right, this claw is getting messed up. Now, a good thing about Razorwing is that it's significantly larger than the normal Karabac, and that means that the hitbox is not as trash to get these limbs. So that's definitely worth knowing. And I was greeting so hard that I just wasn't really able to do a lot of damage to it. But that's all right. That means it gets a little bit of health back. Karabac was facing this way, and so I'm actually just gonna peek this little, I'm not gonna hit the jump pad, I'm gonna peek, and I can see that's floating down there, so that's great. All right, I'm definitely hitting the wrong claw. That was a blunder on my part. Freaking rocks. Rocks, am I right? Am I right, gamers? All right, I got hit. Molten, heal, stabilize. Just kind of waiting for Karabac to do anything that will favor me instead of gonna pop a stamina tonic, because stamina is a struggle. It just keeps turning. All right, Aether form again. Great. I will take it. I'm gonna try and get the interrupt attack again. Nice. All right. Now this claw is so mine. So mine. I've never broken something so simply in my life. It's so simple to get the claws. It's so easy. Oh my gosh, this break is so easy to get. It's so... There we go. I think the fire just broke it. Yes, it did. Thank you, fire proc. You did what I could not. I think I just broke the leg with the fire proc also. We're breaking parts. Let's go. All right, this claw is so easy to break. All right, that was the blades, not the arm itself. The arm is so easy to break. What are these? We got some sort of... We either got dyes or exotics. And we'll see what we got. We got something of... we got the dye. Progenitor. We might have gotten two or something. The Skullforge. Yo, the best exotic in the game. Unlocked. Easy. So easy. So after a heroic hunt, then we can talk about this. We'll make time to talk about exotic items now that we've unlocked one. So the Skullforge is very good for the sword, and it's just a very good exotic right now in general. In my opinion, it's the best exotic in the game. Exotics had the philosophy of adding a little bit of spice into the normal gear, and that, let's see, an exotic masterpiece. Craft one of the following exotic helmets: Skullforge, Tragic Echo, and Prismatic Grace. And so the philosophy behind exotics were to take on the aspects of the behemoths that were slain in order to get them. In previous iterations of Dauntless, you were able to get exotic weapons and items or armor off of Shroud, Rezakuri, Firebrand Charog, and I want to say that's it, but there are other exotics in the game that have been added since then. But the first iterations were the Shroud and Rezakuri ones. In this case, I got the Firebrand Charog one, which is like the set afterwards. So you can see it kind of has Charog's like texture, like hide texture on the helmet, and it is perpetually on fire, hence the name Skullforge. The unique effect is 1.5% of the damage dealt becomes a stamina shield, max of 50 stamina, that depletes slowly after not dealing damage for a short period of time. And this basically makes you not need to worry about stamina in the late game. Now you need to deal a certain amount of damage, so weapons like the Warpike, the sword, and the chain blades need to be relatively careful with how much damage they're dealing, because if you're not dealing enough, you're getting a little bit, but you're not getting enough to make it substantial. And so this is really good on the hammer. This is good on a lot of weapons, because stamina is a real issue, and you have a defensive cell slot where you can put your Iceborne or 9 lives or tough or whatever you want. I need some, and this brings in the additional exotic items that are fast breaks or particular breaks that you need to do particular breaks off of a behemoth, like neutral skull gem for this example. A rare drop from the head of a neutral behemoth broken within 2 minutes of combat. So upon receiving the first hit, a timer will start, and then you need to break the face. That's kind of how that works. Neutral fury plate, a rare drop from the limbs of a raging neutral behemoth. And so there's like particular requirements to get these drops. And so make sure you're keeping track of what you need to upgrade these. Now, I'm not going to craft the exotics until we're done with the playthrough, and I'm not going to deal with that. If you want to go for this, I highly recommend the Skullforge. It's a lot of fun, but you're going to need a lot of damage to back it up to make it very, very good, especially for the sword. But in my case, I love the Skullforge because it's probably the best helmet for the sword in general. I always try to weave it into my builds when I can. That being said, we have 3 down, and we have time for one more hunt. And so we're going to put on our Onus Boreas. We're going to throw on our Rage Hunter. Now, if I had all the cells in the world, maybe you have this, maybe you don't, Shell Shock Resist is going to help immensely on Deadeye Quillshot. And the reason for that is because there's something called Aether Shrapnel within the modifiers of Deadeye Quillshot, which makes it so you're very slow and it drains your stamina. Hooray, stamina mechanics. Now, let's get into it, and I'll go over Aether Shrapnel a little bit more. Now, I want to quickly say that if you have additional materials lying around, the Quillshot boots have the resist that I just added to my weapon. So we're using an ice weapon with a defensive slot, 2 shell shock resist. You can get an additional 2 shell shock resist by wearing the quill spike boots or whatever they're called. And so that will put you at 4, which will make it so the damage from the explosions as well as the status effect duration is lowered by 60%, which is very, very strong. Similar to how we use Fireproof in Scorchstone Hellion. So let's, I'm not going to do that, but if you are struggling with this fight, I recommend it. Let's get into the hunt on the airship, and we'll talk about Aether Shrapnel. We're just flooring these behemoths, by the way. I'm really impressed with how quickly and how smoothly actually the quest line is going. Behemoth projectiles explode, dealing bonus damage and shell shocking slayers. Break Quillshot's quills to reduce its damage and quill volleys. Great hint. You can break Quillshot's quills. You'll be able to it's a little bit more difficult. It almost serves as armor, because you're not going to be able to get any stagger damage or significant stagger damage when the quills on its head exist, when the quills on its tail exist, and the quills on its arm and back exist. Now, if you want to reduce the amount of volleys that are coming out, you can break the ones on its back. I find that the repeaters are pretty good at actually doing that. If you just fire a whatever their charge shot into the back is, that will help. However, when Quillshot goes enraged, it gets all of its quills back, and so that gets a little sketchy, but we'll talk about how to counter this all once we get into the fight. Now, ironically enough, we got a neutral behemoth, and we need neutral skull gems for the for the Skullforge rather. And also, luckily for us, first order of business on Quillshot is getting rid of the quills on its head. We want to be able to stagger it, and we want to be able to have access to those breaks. There are actually 3 breaks on Deadeye's face: the two quills, as well as the face break itself. I should have rolled, but I didn't, because my brain does not. I'm gonna pot up. Deadeye Quillshot is one of those behemoths. So you can see that the quills on its head are no longer present. I can now deal stagger damage. I have no stamina because, or I do have stamina, but I just am not rolling. I'm not sure why. I'm pressing spacebar. That was my blunder. It's almost staggered. I want to force an enrage before we stagger. Actually, you know, I'm going back on that. I want these breaks because they're timed breaks and we've already hit it. So we're just gonna pop off and getting a stagger. So we just broke both back to back. We might just have just gotten 2 neutral skull gems. Okay, so they okay. So I'm shell shocked. That's when your screen is kind of like turning white. You can roll the quills. You can iframe the quills. You'll have an easier time doing that with the shell shock resist, which I highly recommend getting for learning this fight. This fight is heavily countered by its perk. Similar to Nezaga, similar to Scorchstone Hellion. Now, significantly slower when it's doing its volley like this. This is a damage threshold interrupt, even though it doesn't have the prongs above its head. That's something that Phoenix Labs really needs to add, because it's important to know that you can interrupt that. It's a damage threshold. Go for the face. And you know, even if you're like an axe users, so this is the attack. It's when it picks up its legs and starts firing a volley, but it's only when it's enraged, and that's obviously when it's the most deadly as well. And then roll through, grab my molten. That's a big the difference between surviving this encounter is very much so reducing the amount of damage that the quill volleys do to you and your team. And you can do that with frost procs, you can do that with breaks, you can do that with KOs, and you can do that with the interrupts that are provided in the enrage windows. So here we go again. The first attack it does out of its enrage is always this, like, pick up its feet. And so I'm just gonna roll into it. Boom. It fired 2 quills. Right? I'm ready. I was ready, even though I got hit by quills. I got hit. I had my overdrive. I had the damage ready. And so, yeah, it's all about that preparation, right? I know when that attack is coming. There's a chance it will do it again. I just got hit because it was frozen. All right, here it comes again. I'm stuck within the confines of its body, which is unfortunate. But I was still going for it. Unlucky. Couldn't get the interrupt there, but probably de-enrage here pretty soon. For the spinny attack, I try to just stay at the face. Like, the face is kind of the safe spot. However, wow, that was really fast. I was not done talking, Quill Shot, and now you're dead. Now you're dead. All right, well, that's a Deadeye Quill Shot, but I went over the main point that I wanted to go over. Shell Shock resist, that interrupt on the enraged quills, and the ability to get a lot of skull, or what are they called? Neutral skull gems from that particular fight. You can get really nice. We got 2 neutral skull gems, some shining arcstone from all the breaks that we got. Full shot hide and spine hides. Great. We actually need this for the concussive grenade and the interrupt grenade as well. But I think that's where we're going to conclude this video. We'll be coming in hot to take on Shockjaw Nezaga and maybe do like an additional escalation or something after that. Not sure what we're going to do because I don't know what the next quest is. However, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you want to support me and the channel, you can subscribe and use creator code RevvyRad in the Dauntless in-game store or the Epic Games store. You can check out the stream down below in the description. I would appreciate the follow. And yeah, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Hopefully you learned something, and I will see you on the Shattered Isles.